The piece. Okay, basically what it was a Travis County rodeo, right?
No, it was the Buffalo Soldiers.
Buffalo Soldiers.
Third annual Buffalo Soldiers Rodeo.
Okay.
It was the Juneteenth Open.
And it was Saturday night.
Okay, basically, folks, the point that was being made with that.
Your mic?
Oh, that might help. The point that was being made with that was the fact that the enemy uses this racial thing on a regular basis to try to divide us up and all this. You saw from that footage that the racial situation isn't nearly as bad as being presented in the Antichrist media. Okay. Now, with that said and done, let me introduce the co-host of the program, Dessie Andrews. Dessie, good to see you here again.
Thank you.
All right, now let me just preface this first. We've got this. I don't know if this was by accident or you guys are planning this stuff. When I was walking in the studio here, it was handed to me. Mike Hansen handed me a document. Whoops, I can't even do it.
No,
now.
you can't.
Forget it.
Well, but it's somebody that handed it to Mike, wasn't it? Didn't somebody give him that letter so it could be read on the air?
I think I better lay off it. Hey.
What is the IRS are goons, and that particular letter asked for 120% that they threatened to try.
I'm so used to saying that. That's why I slipped up on it. I hope you forgive me if you're watching, Mike.
They have no idea what you're talking.
Here's the thing about this world knows that the IRS is a criminal agency.
Yes, but Mike gave you that letter that he got from a friend of his because it shows that they charge 120% penalty. That's what they're threatening. Drag it up and bring it out.
All right, let me drag it up. Yeah, we don't know who it's to. Okay, here we go. It was handed to me by Mike from a friend.
Right.
Okay, here we go. Sorry about the confusion here, folks. We're just trying to have.
Not quite caught up there.
Yeah. Okay. Now, basically, here is a document. It says here we have attempted. This is from that loving IRS. It says we have attempted to collect the amount we still back, bank account, auto, or other property. Now, and then later here in this IRS document, it was pointed out to me that in this loving letter here, I don't think we can get a close-up of it. You just have to trust me on this, folks. But it says here, we may charge 120% interest on your past due taxes. Now, folks, anybody with any sense knows that 120% is more than the mafia would charge for you to take a loan out with them to protect you. So these guys are this is absolutely criminal. What's going on here?
I think you just said who it was and what they do, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly.
Frankly, they're worse than them.
You know, on this same thing, I had a client recently, and we were at the IRS, and they had well, I won't go into the particulars, but they had sent her a statement, and she got it she had received it 30 days previous to when we were sitting in the IRS, and it said on this particular year, it said she owed $353, and their penalties and interest were $3,672. And I said, I don't quite understand that because your code says, given notice if the person doesn't pay it within 10 days, then the penalty and interest start ticking. And since you really haven't given her a notice and demand, and it's just this letter isn't 30 days old. How did you come up with 1,000 times? Well, she didn't have an answer, but we'll get it next time we go.
Of course, we all know that the IRS is not even a government agency. It is, in fact, a collection agency for the private Federal Reserve Bank, another organization.
I think they work directly for the IMF, and in the documents, in the IRS documents, it says, in many of them, it says UK IRS/IRS. I mean, the UK/US. So we really know it's the Bank of England.
Yeah, that's the. Now, anybody with any sense. Now, there's been a lot of things coming from this type of system that Dessie has studied, and I think it's going to be quite interesting being on a program with her like this. Although you have been on the News Hour.
Yes, I've been on the News Hour.
And you've been on 95.9 a couple of times. So
yes.
we've done some.
Yes, and you've always been just wonderful to me, and you're a very good facilitator.
Well, I appreciate that. The best.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I wanted to just see if I could get Jimmy mad out there. All right. But basically what it is, folks, I know for a fact that a lot of these contracts, I don't know if you want to just get right into it, but I think I will get right into it. A lot of these contracts, even concerning your voter registration card, your Social Security registration, all of this stuff, what it is it's basically contracts. It tracks you in a category, it puts you in a baggage of cattle. And the enemy uses these different mechanisms like contracts, and where you sign something and you give something up to the federal government, you give something up for this and that. And Dessie has done a good bit of research on this type of fraudulent scheme that they employ against us.
Well, you know, Alex's thing, Alex.
That's quite all right.
Pardon, Jeff. We just ran into Alex out on the steps. That's why it was fresh on my mind.
That's quite all right.
I mean, it was hard to forget. It's coming down on us. I totally disagree. I attack it from a smaller perspective. I don't talk about the New World Order. I talk about what enslaves people. Each man, and break these contracts that they have on us, then that we will go willingly towards the New World Order and the one world government. So we both are saying the same thing. It's just that he approaches it from a different viewpoint than I do.
Oh, let me just clarify it more. As we talked outside, the whole world is a lie right now.
The whole world is a lie.
Everything that's being presented, there's some hidden agenda, some hidden motive. It's fraudulent and it's deceptive, and the people that work at you operate off sleight of hand.
Right.
So I think my strategy has been, since I understand that lie, is to, if you can expose and teach other people this lie, then a lot of the things that you're talking about and other people are talking about, then they will then be pushed into these arrangements. But you have to understand the total manipulation process, Dessie, or I think you could fall into some of their traps.
Absolutely, and that's where I come from. I mean, I'm always digging to see how it started, how they tied us in, and how we can possibly get out of it. I'm a Pollyanna. I keep believing that if wrong, then we can go back to that point, declare it fraud, and move forward. And like Alex and I were talking.
Don't worry about it.
I'm through.
Just keep on.
I'm going to write Alex Jones, please, and then it will be over.
Whatever.
Okay, as Jeff and I we're talking. I apologize.
It's going great.
I feel that we have to fight the system at every step. I feel that we understand when the chaos really reigns. I don't know if it's revolution. I don't know how it will happen, but I think we'll have a window of opportunity that we can walk in and
Well,
yeah, how do we?
or did you have a presentation here you wanted to do?
Well, I just wanted to talk about something.
Oh, let me say something. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Sure.
Then I want to give an update on the Mark Cornke situation.
Well, oh, that reminds me. I wanted to say, I'm a friend of Rick McLaren, and I'm very concerned about Rick McLaren, and I don't care what you people out there believe that the media has put out about the Republic of Texas. And there are as many cooks in the Republic of Texas as there are in the Democratic and Republican Party. I'll tell you that right now. Yes, I mean, that's just the way it is.
There's a lot of weirdos in general.
But Rick McLaren is a valiant, educated, incredible man who has fought and fought and fought. And he might have made mistakes along the way, but he's put up an incredible battle of paper against this enemy for this United Nations thing, and we wouldn't have to worry about it. We would at least have Texas free, and when Texas was free, the rest of the states would go free. Rick gets sentenced on a federal, he had a federal trial several months ago, and the sentencing takes place tomorrow. And after that sentencing, Rick is put back in I think it's Iowa City. It's one of those private prisons that was built near Wichita Falls. And it's a state facility, and that's on that 99-year charge that he's found guilty. Into basically a closet, and he's isolated from all the other prisoners. He's allowed a 5-minute phone call every 90 days. And he expressed today, and this is the first time I've ever seen him waver, he expressed that they would kill him on a tray. They don't let him go through the cafeteria line. So his his meals are brought to him separately. And that's a real opportunity for these people. I mean, you know, McDougal went in for a urine test and never came out. It's perfectly healthy, and he died of a heart attack while he was having a routine urine test. And this is the first time I've ever known of Rick to express any fear. And so I just want people to be aware that he is a political prisoner. It's no different than Solzhenitsyn's Gulag Archipelago. This is a political prisoner. It's all this Richard Keyes that got 95 years. They're political prisoners because they want to change a political system, and that's all it is. And if we in America don't have the right to speak up and have a political viewpoint different than this onerous one world order, we don't have America. And I want people to be aware that Rick has fought a battle for all of us, and I want you to hold him in your prayers for safety, because he is in real danger, and God help him if they kill Rick McLaren, because he's in fine health when he's going to that state facility. And if he dies, they will have killed him.
Well, I don't disagree with you. I mean, there's a lot of them. You know, there's a lot of people with philosophies that I disagree with that are sitting in prison because of their political...
Absolutely.
So we just, you know, in a supposedly free system, we shouldn't be tolerating that.
No, and the slave labor that goes on in the prisons, it's just a large slave labor camp. They talk about China
that's part of the...
and most favored nations when we've got one of the largest slave prison population in the world here in America.
The biggest industry, one of the biggest industries.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say something about, as some of you know, I was just got back from Ohio Saturday, and headed over to Windsor, Canada, and gambled. But I
All
don't say
right.
Okay, but on Tuesday night I was on a fellow's name called a radio show called Rick Townsend. He hosts a program on Radio Free Lenawee. Pastor Rick Strawcutter's Adrian impressive facility. I was quite impressed. There were several Michigan militia people that came to talk to me after the program. And basically, though, I got a briefing on Mark Cornecky's situation. Now, if you all don't know who Mark Cornecky is, he's considered to be a patriot, and some people have called him an agent. Just a typical thing going on, you know.
Well, who hasn't been called an agent?
Yeah. But he is a fellow that's been on international shortwave now for 4 years. With him, he and John Statmiller. And he had sent me tapes. I have played his tapes down here on Access, his American Peril series. And basically what comes down to, he got charged with a little city ordinance. I don't know exactly what it was. They think it was something like not mowing your grass or something in his creek or something like this, like you get down here in Austin. And so he went to the pretrial for that, and he had several Michigan militia people with him. And apparently, and I saw the Detroit Free Press news story on this, and there were several armed, I mean, there was at least 100 armed SWAT people outside the courthouse because they knew what could come down. And basically, he went into the pre-trial, and him and his friends had determined that they were just going to set him up, that they were going to railroad him into prison, you know, get him off the air, do whatever they could to shut him up. So he has not come back for the regular trial, and they've since placed a federal search warrant on his arrest. And it's a potential that he may be the next patriot killed. Now I know there's militia people up there that are standing with him. I don't know that we could actually meet their military equipment at this point. So there's a possibility they may find a way to either to do a McLaren on him, or even worse, they could kill him.
I knew last month, I read on the internet that they were after him, that issued a warrant, and he was in hiding.
And Nancy Cornecky, his wife, is taking it real tough, and I guess she's kind of beside herself. And so that's a tough situation. I think it's important to note that because any time a patriot is in trouble, I don't care where it is, you know, somebody that speaks truth, it needs to be recognized I had Richard Keyes on my shows. I had Paulson. I'll have Lyndon LaRouche people. You know, there's a half a dozen Lyndon LaRouche prisoners, and turn it over to a nicer big government type of thing.
Well, and it's not anything that just happened lately. You know, the Secrets of the Federal Reserve by Eustace Mullins was really encouraged for a political prisoner. They wanted to silence him, and that was in the 20s, 30s. So this is nothing new. We are really no different than Russia. I used to really believe that America never indulged in these things, and America doesn't. The United States does.
Yeah, the whole system is criminal, and that's why I do appreciate your research. I've heard a lot of it. I've talked to Johnny Liberty. I've talked to I've been connected to a lot of the sovereignty type people and getting the people out of the system. And philosophically, I think it's good.
Well, I found a way recently that it doesn't matter if people are out of the system; they can still, because they're all held in trust, they can file suits against the trustees if you're in the system. I've found a way that we can fight them just as effectively as if you're not. So it's really not necessary for people to get out of the system. They have ammunition inside the system because a lot of people can't do it. A lot of people don't understand. A lot of people have to feed their family. A lot of people can't get jobs without Social Security numbers, even though that's absolutely illegal. But, you know,
It's all part of the love, Death.
But there is a way that they can fight and be inside the system.
Well, I wanted to talk about the Cornegay, and I'm glad you brought up the McLaren thing. The thing is one of the biggest, the hottest growing businesses in America. And then recently I saw Janet Reno on C-SPAN talking about how they're federalizing all of the federal prisons into civilian-type work camps.
I don't understand about the prison system. I mean, you must have realized here in Texas that it was the largest growth industry for a number of years. All the little towns and cities out here were vying against each other to get a prison facility built in their neighborhood. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But inside those prisons, the people are employed. They get paid maybe $30 a month. But they have businesses in there. They do travel reservations, computer businesses. A lot of your telephone solicitors are calling from prison. They make furniture. They make clothing inside these factories, and the prisoners get paid nothing. And I forget the name of the company that does that. Do you remember the name?
Wackenhut's one of them.
Well, but those are the builds the prisons. It's the company that has all those businesses. I'm sorry, I forget the name.
Well, the point is, it's a great. I mean, we're being set up.
But you
they
see,
passed more laws to make us all criminals of the state, and then they're building prisons.
Absolutely, to make it big prison camps. I mean, hello, Germany.
Yeah, I mean, it's
exactly what Hitler did.
It's so obvious, at least to me, that I you know, it's beyond me why other people just don't see it.
Well, I don't understand it either. I mean, people have got to be blind, and yet every day we meet people. I know you do, I do, and they say, "What's wrong with the system? I'm perfectly happy." And I think, well, you know, today you're going to be happy, and tomorrow you're going to be in a prison stitching shoes.
Let me clarify that. Materialism is part of the conspiracy.
Oh, yes.
See, they fatten people. Yeah, we will.
Okay, we'll take it.
Let me make this point here. They fatten people up. See, it's like they're being fattened up for the slaughter. They give them their basic, you know, food, water, clothing, a little bit of play money, and this kind of thing. But they've taken everything else. They've taken their rights. They've taken their identity. They've taken their history. They've taken their minds, essentially.
Right, they have.
So they're enslaved to this system, and they have no comprehension that they're even enslaved.
No, they don't.
As long as they have a few their cars and all that. But anyway, let's go ahead and take. Let's go to Andrews. Dessie, I'm actually glad I'm doing this.
Well, good, Jeff.
Yeah.
Hello, Dessie. Hello, Jeff.
Hi, how are you
doing? Is this real recon?
Yeah, hey, good you're back in town there.
Thank you, sir.
Getting off up going into Yankee land.
Yeah, pulling my money away though. Hey, I went into 4 casinos, man.
All right.
Oh,
I went into West Virginia, Atlantic City, Windsor, Ontario, Canada, Mount Pleasant, Michigan, and I lost every place. So I'm not doing it anymore.
I think there's a reason for that, Jeff.
I'm not doing it anymore.
Is that a new suit?
Yeah, I bought this in Ohio, and it doesn't even fit me. I think
you must have done all right then.
No, I lost, man. I'm not going to do it anymore.
With these losings.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it anymore. That was my annual trip up there. I've done it for the last 18 years. For people who are questioning where the shortwave money's going,
right.
That's not where it went.
And do you always go gambling, and do you always lose?
Yeah, and I'm about ready to quit.
All right, all right.
I mean, I lost a couple of places there, Recon, where it had just been just as quick to just go and find the manager, hand him $100, man, and say, here.
Do you mean the IRS hasn't taught you anything?
I mean, really?
Hey, let me tell you something. For like a 1,200 or plus hit, you have to fill out an IRS form.
Well,
oh, yeah.
Boy, they're
Oh,
even in
yeah.
them places, man, just swarming like maggots in there. You ought to
Sure.
see those people, man.
Mag-
Pay for it before you get out the door.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Anyway, right at the beginning, you showed a film of the rodeo.
yes,
Is that an annual event down here?
it's the 3rd annual Buffalo Soldiers Rodeo.
The real Buffalo Soldiers.
Yep, the real
Yeah,
Buffalo.
most people don't even know about them.
I didn't.
They don't know about the Buffalo Soldiers?
Yeah, shoot, yeah, they fought for the South.
Yeah,
You
they
bet.
Black Regiment Buffalo Soldiers fought for the South, horse
Tough.
riders.
Tough, bad boys, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Good soldiers. Just like that group in World War II flew the airplanes. What the heck was their names? Oh, shoot, I know Jimmy in there will know.
Tuskegee Airmen.
Airmen.
Yeah.
Speaking of
I saw the movie. I couldn't remember.
is that a familiar name?
What, Tuskegee?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Well, no, not to some. It was a very planned and calculating experiment that Recon that helped all of us.
Okay.
As was presented on one of your shows, I was told.
Yeah. Wait till
Yeah.
you see my DARPA report.
Hey, how's the show going, bro?
Oh, I think it's going good. Getting a lot of mail and a lot of requests for copies. So it's actually going a little better than I thought it would.
That's wonderful.
People just don't like to talk religion anymore, and then when you start listening to me, it really sounds off the wall.
Hey, Robert, have you read Luke 21:15?
Oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
you know,
I think we all are at this point in time. We all need to take a look at those few verses.
People against you.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'd like to see some more of that rodeo stuff. I just love a rodeo.
All right.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we will do
He's
it.
making a film. He's
Yeah.
making a film. He's gonna film it Thursday. Is that what you're gonna do?
Film Thursday,
Actually-
and then get submitted later.
Actually,
okay.
if you
he's
want to,
filming he's making a film on Thursday
Watch the TV guys.
can I restate that?
of the rodeo. It
I'm
will
more
be
than willing
submitted
to go
later.
another 7-8 minutes tonight if
Okay.
you want. Because I gotta go.
No.
I gotta go burn one. So.
Well, when you do, we got a little film. I have about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, Recon?
Yeah, I'd like to throw my plug in too about the RT. Those people, I can't even hardly talk about it, especially after hearing about a Houston policeman who 2 days ago was convicted of murdering his girlfriend, shot her in the back, and got 20 years. And on top of that, they tried to get 10 years off for good behavior. And here you got this young man, Richard Keys, and the rest of them, but Richard in particular, 22 years old, 9 prison, $10,000 fine for burglary. Come on, folks.
We'll have a film
Come
of
on,
the
let's-
video later.
You know, all you got to do is start making calls, start getting mad, and do something. Maybe we can help these people.
You, but of some of the people in this town.
Sure.
I am getting sick and tired of hearing this crap about, oh, I don't want to be associated with the RT.
Yeah.
That's why I'm leaving this and I'm doing this over here. You know, this petty.
Well, it is
The fact is, these people are just people too. We may or may not even agree with their philosophy. It doesn't. That's not the point. The point
Right.
is,
Well,
Justice is the
I
point.
don't think, Jeff, it's so much that people don't agree with their
They don't-
philosophy.
well, they've been
They don't-
brainwashed.
They don't even understand what it
like Christ media moved in on them.
They
man.
have no idea what the Republican
Well, actually, the media was backed off. The locals were backed off 10 miles. But I did see CFR Cokie Roberts on Nightline like 3 days before they moved in over there. You know, just doing their normal condition.
Excuse me, the problem is false justice. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Yeah.
Are you saying we
And
don't
damn
have
it,
remedies in the courts, Recon?
Do what?
Are you saying we don't have remedies in the courts?
We do not have anything in the court
I'm shocked.
except money-making, lying, thieving jerks.
Okay, you have another question? We got to take another call, Recon.
Hey, that's a good statement though. I like that.
Yeah, and,
How do you
and
really feel about
the, and
that?
the International Raping Service is just as bad. Good
Yeah.
night, folks.
Good night.
God bless you, bro.
Another call?
Yeah, we'll try another one here real quick. This is the tie that binds here on, what is it, 22nd of June.
Hello, Jeff. Hello, Dessie.
Hi, I know that you know the name of that company.
It's Unicor.
Thank you, Unicorn.
I had to call. I figured this could be the only opportunity I may ever have to add to one of Dessie Andrews' conversations.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. I was hoping.
You should know, out in Bastrop, they make those wonderful little Kevlar helmets that the Marines are very fond of.
Oh, that's what they make in the prison out there?
That's what they make out there. Out in Big Spring, they make cables for missiles
Okay.
and tanks.
And that's what they build in the prisons?
That's some of, they also make furniture. They started out innocently enough with mops and brooms,
Uh-huh.
right? You could see that back in the 30s, right?
That's how long Unicor's been in the prisons?
It's been in the prisons for a long time. I think it started in the 30s. I'm not real sure about that. I am sure about all the variety of things that they do make, though.
And they have a contract with the government? Is that correct, Rusty?
Well, let's put it this way: they ship all the missile cables and things of this nature. These really wild optical things that they make there. They ship them all to the Red River Arsenal. That's somewhere up on the border between Arkansas and Texas.
Sounds like part of the love.
Really?
Must be some of the love.
Yeah,
Oh,
more
so
love.
So that laser optic stuff, is that what it is?
Oh, it's really weird. We couldn't even, nobody could, everybody, from what I understand, nobody could actually see the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah.
So how do they pay prisoners? Do you know?
See. Last I heard, it was like $23, $24 a month. That was top pay.
Okay, so they really are in competition with private businesses, are they not?
Oh yeah, sure.
I mean, would you say that?
$24 a month. Yeah, I'd say they're really competitive there.
But I mean, they really do engage in making products that private industry makes.
Absolutely. Didn't you see that they made billions last year? They made billions last year.
Well, who didn't? And they still lay off people, don't they?
I guess so.
More love. That's what it sounds like to me, Russ.
Oh, maybe things. But see, there's the upside to this is everything's got to get cheaper because they're building all these new prisons everywhere, and they've got all these people. Nobody wants to just sit there and sit and do nothing and get $5 a month when you can go and do something and get $25 a month.
Well, the point is they're also making a lot of new laws too.
Right. So they got to fill those up with workers. They got to fill those up with workers.
That's it.
Well, the problem, eventually is who's going to be on the outside to buy these cheap products.
Oh, wow. That's right. When they came for everybody else, there was nobody left but us.
That's true. That's true.
Boy.
We're all going to be inside the prison making shoes.
This must be one of those conspiracy theories.
Is it? Is this a theory?
Huh?
I think this is all fact. I think this is all pretty much fact.
I think that's pretty well documented fact.
Except for the last part. That's purely speculation, but I mean 2 and 2 is usually 4.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you coming to the July 4th get-together?
Absolutely, with with a brand new lighter.
Hey, I forgot my flags, man. I had to buy. We got our UN flags in. We got 3 dozen of them.
I saw some sitting on your desk earlier in your show earlier.
Yeah, we're going to be torching them babies.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Too darn hot.
Sounds good. Well, Jeff, you looks like your little vacation did you some good, buddy. You look rested. You look good. You look kind of shiny and bright. You know what I mean? Renewed.
Well, I can sit. Yeah. The vacation did me good, and then I got into a kind of an irritated moment, but I'm back.
Well, good.
Yeah, I'm back.
Good. Good to have you back.
God bless.
Dessie, great to hear from you again. Talk to you guys soon. Have a great show.
Thanks for calling, Rusty.
Bye-bye.
Unicorn. I need to write that down. I'll forget that.
Let's try another one. We got another one hanging there at the wings.
Hello?
Hi, sir.
How you doing? I just tuned into your show. I just wanted to see if I could get you guys' opinions on the insurance industry. And I've been having a lot of problems personally with them. And as far as, I don't know if you want to call it corruption or whatever, but it seems like one big financial loop where they wind up getting all the money and not paying anything out over and over and over. And then they have these politicians where they call it campaign financing, but what's the difference between a campaign financing and a bribe? I mean, come on.
And one of the key, I know
they make you have insurance now.
I'll let
the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the point I was going to make. I'll let Dessie respond on the insurance companies and the origins of that. But the key to be noted here is that the enemy forces you to purchase that.
I just wonder if I'm alone and feeling that this industry is just a big bunch of. It's the biggest scam I think I've ever heard of.
Well,
listen to this. There's just this one personal thing. They make you do the premiums. They pass laws where if you have a car, you have to pay for the premiums, right?
No.
No?
No.
You don't have to have insurance
Well,
to drive a car?
what you have to be is financially responsible. And the Financial Responsibility Act says that after an accident, you must show financial responsibility. That's what it says.
Well, that's actually true, but
Yeah,
the
but
whole,
if you're going
the
to
whole
go,
thing's a fraud.
if you're going to go get your tags or something like that, you have to show financial, I mean, not financial responsibility, but you have to show insurance.
Yes, and the truth of the matter is, even the corrupt government cannot force you into a private contract.
But they did.
Well,
Yeah, I know, but
they
you
do
don't-
because you
Yeah.
go along with it.
You don't
Yeah,
get
I
your tag.
understand.
You're
understand.
asking for a benefit, and in order to get a benefit, they make you jump through the hoop, and that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
But
Well,
wait a minute. But
I'm
wait a minute.
saying-
Hey, what's your first name?
Adam?
Adam, wait a minute now. But what's the problem, man? I mean, it's all for the kids. I mean, if everybody doesn't have insurance, and you're not forced to pay for this insurance, some little child could get killed in a car, man, or something, and the guy doesn't have insurance.
Well, here's what I have a problem with. I pay premiums. I get in a wreck with somebody that doesn't have insurance, okay? And then what's the first thing they make me pay? A deductible, even though I've been paying premiums. And what happens to the guy that's in a wreck that doesn't have insurance? He gets a fine.
Well,
okay?
what?
And where does that fine money go? Does that fine money go to me? Hell
No.
no, it goes to whoever else, the government or whatever.
That's the point.
That
Or
money should
whatever.
go to me.
Well, insurance actually started from Lloyd's of London. Here we come back to England again, and we
Yeah.
are still a British colony, so there's just no dispute about. I mean, you can argue about it, but I can show you the documents that show that we are. Insurance companies originated to insure cargo on the high seas because ships would go out and never be found. But I think what they found in that was that if they could force insurance onto people, that they could make them more dependent. That's just part of this whiny society where somebody's taking care of them. People aren't nearly as responsible for themselves as they possibly could be if they have insurance, because if they wreck their car, somebody else pays for it. If their house gets burgled or burns down, somebody else pays for it. It takes away from our self-responsibility, and that's really the insidious part about insurance. In addition to, you're right, there are big insurance companies and they're getting rich.
I think the thing that needs to be noted in all this is any time that the people have transferred their responsibility and their accountability for their own lives and actions to governments and entities like this and all, which is basically all intertwined, you get enslavement.
Yeah.
That's all. That's what all it comes down
Well,
to.
insurance is based on risk, and if they're forcing people to take this coverage, then, you know, they're getting money without having to do the risk part of it. Hello, everybody. You know what I mean?
Well,
Why don't you give me a call on my my comment line here? Do you have a website, don't you?
no, I don't have a website.
I thought I saw a website.
I think I will, because
I have
I've
an
got
email-
like
an email
several.
page.
Oh, email. Okay.
I've got several instances that I could go on and on about. It's just a big scam, is what it is.
It
Yeah.
is a big scam.
Well, but let me. We can't back off. The whole world's a big scam at this point.
You can choose. You can get educated and choose not to participate.
You
That's your
That's
choice.
the part that I wish you'd kind of go over, because how do I get my tags and inspection sticker and all that crap that they're making you show insurance for when they're passing laws? And there was even a senator out in West Texas, or one of the politicians was saying that if you don't get insurance, he was trying to pass it, so if you're in a wreck or whatever and don't show your insurance, he was recommending 3 days in jail. Can you believe that?
Let me ask you a question, Adam. Do you recognize as the whole world is a liar at this point?
Well, I don't know about that, but this is one industry that I've really become, that I really hate now, and I think it's just a big scam is all I think it is.
Well, but just remember this: there's somebody controlling that scam even
Well,
over the.
I really hope I don't become that cynical about the whole world.
Well,
The underlying-
keep watching the show, and
Yeah.
you'll start to see.
Okay,
that
what
it's
you've
true.
done, Adam, is technically, I'll tell you what you've done. You've filled out a registration for your car, and you gave your car to the state when you did that. You'll never own your car
Yep.
again. You gave your car
Yep.
to the state, and when you did that, you told the state that for them to take care of your car, that you would meet certain concessions. So when you registered your car, that's what you signed up to do. So you can't complain about something that you willingly went to the slaughter. So you have to understand, you have to back up and see what you've done, what it is you've done. You learn about it, and then see if you want to do something about it.
But at least by watching these shows and at least being cynical about that, you've taken the first step towards enlightening your.
I don't think I'm cynical. I still believe in goodness of man. So.
All right. All right, well, thanks.
God bless you, bro.
Bye-bye.
All right, next one. You're on the air.
Hey, how you doing?
Fine,
Good.
how are you?
Fine, thank you. Well, here's the thing. Dave Miller's technology, and I don't know if Dessie, if you've heard of Dave Miller.
I went to a seminar the other night.
Right. So his technology states that with regard to adhesion contracts, they're disqualified because the very nature of the syntax of the sentence structure and how we place adverbs, verbs, and articles disqualifies all the treaties worldwide. Can you comment on that?
Well, it may, according to David Miller's plan, disqualify all the treaties. The only thing is a lot of things are illegal. A lot of things aren't right. A lot of things are unlawful. But they have the bully pulpit, and they're going to continue to forge ahead. I say that if you declare that you're not part of it, that you're out of it. I mean, you just simply have to make a declaration that you're not part of it, and therefore you're out of it. So you're not subject to that treaty, whether it's legal or illegal anyway, if you declare you're not.
Yeah, but by the very nature of, according to Dave Miller again, by the very nature of your admission that you're out of it, what he's saying is that it didn't exist anyway because the way they set up the treaties and the way the structure and the wording is, by the very nature, disqualified all the treaties to begin with.
I don't deny that it's the emperor's new clothes. It is. What they've put, this whole thing that they've put in place, everybody says about anything, it's the law. I mean, you talk about a treaty, they say it's the law. That doesn't make it true. And show me the law. They can't show me a law. Whenever you should always question what's the law. When somebody tells you you have to give a Social Security number, say, show me the law. Why? Show me the law. Don't mess around. Just show me the law. They can't produce a law. They just say, well, that's the way it is, or the thing they're saying now is that's our policy. Well, that's emperor's new clothes, but there's a big emperor out there, and he seems to have a lot of invisible clothes, and people stand in the parades and adore him. And until the people stop looking at the emperor and say he's nude, he's naked, then we're going to continue with this system, right, wrong, legal, or illegal. So what David Miller says in theory is right, but it's not practical.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, there's right there, Dessie, is an example of why I'm just a little bit skeptical about the. Let me finish this point. See, you are arguing about, I've heard Larry Hare say shifts programs aren't good. I've heard all the people that are going around doing this.
I didn't say that David Miller didn't have a point. He does.
Well, all I'm saying is, see, in my opinion, we can get caught up in a lot of this stuff, and people get lost into this stuff, and they never come to see the whhole lie. Man.
I think. Okay, let's take David Miller. I totally was against what he was saying because I saw his stuff a year ago, and he's evolved since then. And I saw what he said the other night was true. I saw that. I mean, I believe him. And then in the ancient laws and the ancient vocabulary, what he says is true. And I speak German, and I know that's how the Germans write and speak. So he's just saying that that's without articles, and it's too complicated to go into. That it invalidates things, it changes the whole meaning, and that's what they've done. They've put the scam in front of us by changing the whole meaning, and I don't disagree with him. And I think if he can fight them in his way, and it gets 20,000 free over there, that's wonderful. I think if Larry Hare can fight him in his way, hey, let him fight him and get.
Well, I'm not saying that. Look, everybody out there doing something. I appreciate that. I mean, trying to do something,
Well, everybody will be interested in a particular niche, and if that's the thing that, if you get interested in his stuff and want to follow it, hey, do it, because they're doing something.
Yeah, everybody's doing something.
The thing is not to knock somebody else's theory.
Well, I'm not. I haven't done that.
No, I didn't say you did.
And I'm just saying, my only contention is that, like we said outside, is that you're dealing with thugs, man. You're dealing with brutes that don't even recognize their own criminal law.
They're thugs and brutes, but look what happened in India. Look what happened in South Africa. Those people were thugs and brutes there too. And the Indians were killed. I mean, they came in numbers, and the British mowed them down with machine guns and billy clubs and beat him to death, and they didn't raise a hand to him, and the Indians just kept coming and kept coming. And finally, the brutes, which were the British, and they still are, the brutes did not understand how people could come peacefully and be clubbed to death.
Yeah.
And they couldn't, after a while, they got tired of doing it to them, and they left their country because they could not defeat these people who stood their ground. But these people wanted freedom so badly that they were willing to stand there and be killed, because when they were killed, somebody else would take their place. And that's the problem with America. When one of us is killed, nobody else will stand up and take their place. And that's why these brutes can remain brutes. The only way we can stop them is to stop them. And that means you.
And let me just say this, too, to add to that. You know, and keep in mind, Jim and I were just talking about this on the way over here. These are just the cases that we hear about. Do you realize how many people that this so-called government has killed that we know about? I can go way, but you know, you remember Gordon Call, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can go to the Weavers, you know, you can go to Waco. I mean, and these are just the ones. Mike Madsen, all these people, man, are just getting murdered by this government.
I saw an autopsy, a story in an autopsy report on the internet about this little 20-year-old boy in Oregon who had a drinking problem, and he'd gotten a DWI. He was on probation, and he broke his probation, and they took him into a dormitory-type detention place, and he was there 3 days, and they took him in and strapped him in a chair and beat him to death, and the pictures were horrible. But that, again, and people that have heard me know that I'm a student of South Africa. I really watched what happened in South Africa, and that's what the brute police did in South Africa, too. But what a horrible thing when police in a detention unit can take this 20-year-old kid who never did anything to anybody, and he wasn't a patriot, he didn't not pay his taxes, he didn't do any of those things that you might justify the rest of these people for getting killed did. He just simply had a problem, and they strapped him in a chair and beat him to death.
And keep in mind, these are just the people that we hear about.
Those are the people
I mean,
that we
there
hear
are people that commit suicide because the IRS is coming after their business and stuff like this, and we don't ever hear about any of this.
Yeah, I think
there are raids coming into people's homes on almost probably a daily basis.
And the problem is we have no law because the courts will not give us remedy. We have no remedy in the courts. The brutes have taken over the courts, and they can get away with that, and they have immunity.
They've got it all sewn up.
And we have nothing.
But we do have the truth, and let me tell you, just a little. The truth shined on a rock. You know, any truth shine when you get enough people moving that rock, and putting light on these critters, and these, you know, they run like cockroaches. Man, we can win. Man, I'm convinced of it. We can win this thing.
I have every hope. I have every belief we're going to win. We just need your help, guys. We need you to get educated. We need you to get interested, and we need you to help us. We really do. We need people to get educated. We need help pushing these bums into the sea.
We also need help. Once you get educated, you need to do something. I think that's my biggest gripe right now is there's too many people just sitting around reading books and all of this stuff. Well, the New World, I mean, this thing comes raining down on you. It's just not going to, you know, to sit there and find, well, this code here, this New World Order code here says this. It's just not going to do you any good. We have to, you know what I think we need to be doing? I think we need to be providing starting to get ready with our emergency essentials, all these kinds of things, food, water, make ourselves independent as far as electricity, as many things as we can do to get away from this system and make ourselves independent, and of course keep armed.
Well,
that's what we need to be doing, and educating ourselves.
I hope to shout.
And educating.
Well, while you were gone, I found this Lincoln Order 100, and this was put in place in 1863. And for those that haven't heard me talk about it, I think this is a real find because in 1863, this Lincoln Order, General Order 100, and it's not an executive order, this is the order which made it the law of the land, was put in place, and it has 169 articles in it.
You have a piece of paper I can write with.
And one of the articles, hello.
Thank you very much. Normally I have my notepad, but I haven't done this in a couple of weeks.
Hey, don't steal the important stuff in there. Just take papers.
I just need one sheet just for notes.
All right, just for notes.
All right. There you go.
One of the things it says in here is that they can starve us. I'll see if I can find it. But things like war is not carried on by arms alone. It is lawful to starve. Oh, that is. It is lawful to starve the hostile belligerent, armed or unarmed, so that it leads to the speedier subjugation of the enemy. And that's exactly what they're putting in place. And when I was I was looking at the Communist Manifesto the other day to see most of the planks of the Communist Manifesto have been put in place in America, but this document was put in place in 1863. The Communist Manifesto was written in 1848, and what I realized is the Communist Manifesto and Lincoln's Order 100, they came out of the same room. I mean, a bunch of guys, lawyers probably in the city of London, sat down and wrote all this stuff because it's just, again, back to the New World Order. This is the plan they put us under, and this military order, it says that this will be the law of the land until a peace treaty is signed, and this was written during the Civil War, and no peace treaty was ever signed between the belligerents. So the hostilities have never ended, and they've been very careful. The United States has been very careful never to have a peace treaty signed. And that's why Rick McLaren is such a threat, because Rick McLaren did have them sign a peace treaty that ended the hostilities last year. So there has been a peace treaty to end the Civil War, which was signed last year, and that's his danger. That's the real danger of that, because that negates this military law and sets us free and puts us back to the Constitution. But as long as they can keep this military law in place, and they'll fight to the death to say that no peace treaty has ever been signed, as long as they can keep this in place, then we are the enemy.
Let me just say this real quick. Fox 7 News protest. I got to do this, Dessie.
Go ahead.
Fox 7 News protest.
Put his name up again. I forgot it.
This Friday, 26th June of '98, 10 p.m. It's on the corner of 10th and Brazos. 10 o'clock. Bring your flashlights. If you basically, it's going to be this Friday. It's Greg Erickson's deal doing it. And I'm going to be there. I'm going to have some fun with it. In fact, I'm going to be down here as a guest on a show scheduled to be Friday, that Friday, and then I'm going to leave early and go down there. But I think it could be a good event. Basically, what it comes down to, folks, we have to understand that the media is not feeding us any information of any significance. So if we understand that, we're just going to have to go out and get the information ourselves and present it to you with the different forums that we have at this time. Since the so-called regular news media will not do it, refuses to do it, we have to do it ourselves. And we're just going to go out and protest the fact that they are not reporting any news. They are presenting fluff, issues of no significance, and we are countering that.
I wanted to say, you started with the IRS. I wanted to say I pulled this off my source of news, the Internet. I used to quote Time Magazine and everything. Now it's all the Internet. I had to give up my subscription because I couldn't keep up with that and read all this stuff too. I pulled this off from one of my sources today, and it's a fellow who went to the law library this weekend, and this is what he found. He found that there was a proposed 23rd Amendment to the Constitution to repeal the 16th Amendment, which is the one that was supposedly gave the Congress the right to tax. And it was a document number 5, put before the 87th Congress, first session on January 10th, 1961. Right now, the IRS is saying that they want to repeal the income tax laws and put other tax laws in place.
Yeah.
This is nothing new. It happened in 1961, and the reason for it is they took a poll, and most of the big businesses, well, let's see, it says that 25,000 corporations accounted for 90.3% of the total income tax liabilities. And so the companies that paid this were the ones that were behind the repeal of the income tax, because the companies, the big corporations, didn't want to pay any income tax anymore. So they want to shift the burden onto people with sales tax. And sales tax is just as illegal as income tax. And we can beat the IRS code, but could we beat a sales tax? I don't think so. And that's illegal because, remember, folks, this was set up. I realize the Constitution is suspended because of the military law, but the reason this country was set up, well, it is.
I know that. It's just good the way it just flows out like normal conversation.
The reason this country was set up was so we could have freedom. This was the great experiment in freedom. Never before in the history of the world was there any place where people could have freedom. They had always been under kings, monarchs. They had always been serfs, slaves. And we had the opportunity here in America to change that. And we've let that slip from our grasp by being ignorant and asleep at the wheel. So, no, No inference to the group out there. So we were never set up to take money from some and give to another. That's not what this country was about. People have to get out the Constitution and read it and make the Constitution come alive again, because it's dead. It doesn't extend to us. It's been killed. It was suspended in 1863. If you go into court, they say, don't even try to bring the Constitution in here. We don't want to hear it. We'll fine you $500 if you mention it. If the Constitution was really alive, would a judge say that? And the judge is right. Technically, legally, the judge is right, because we have no Constitution. So let's get it back. But we don't do it by taking from me and giving to him, or taking from him and giving to Joe Blow. We are entitled to the fruits of our own labor. So don't be fooled by any other form of tax, a sales tax, anything like that. We don't need taxes. The only reason for taxes is to keep this repressive government and let it get bigger and bigger so it can enslave us more. Stop it.
The sales tax thing, see, I've been real leery about that all along.
It's insane.
Well,
why do we need to keep this government going?
The enemy, see, they throw out these traps, see, and that's what I'm saying about everything. I mean, you really got to watch these guys, man.
Well, we're not supposed to pay taxes.
Now, I understand that, but what I'm saying is that they could rail on the IRS to a point to where they, to get the people whooped up into a frenzy, get rid of it, and we'll take this over here.
Yeah, and then
that plays more into
thing.
their, maybe their technology as far as they're this.
That's right. Yeah, so, they're this and they're this.
Yeah. So we got to watch. Do you want to go ahead and take another quick break here, or let's take another quick break here? Jim, are you ready with some more rodeo? Okay, Daddy Keys, let's hit it. Now, let me just preface it. This is, where was this at, Chris?
It's Dee's and Daddy Keys. About a half hour long, but I'm only going to show about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's in my living room.
And where was it at? Oh, it's in your living room. Okay, and this was after his son.
After the trial.
After his son had just got 90 years.
Oh no.
It's his first statement.
This is Richard Keys. He's the second.
He's a junior.
Okay.
So it's Richard Keys' father.
This is Richard Keys Jr., who's the father of Richard Keys, the 22-year-old fellow that just got railroaded into prison at 22 years old for 90 years. This is his dad over at the Ritters. I guess it had been like sometime in the last 3 or 4 days or so, but just watch it, folks. This is the dad of the son that just got railroaded into prison. We'll be back in about 7-8 minutes.
Good afternoon and good evening, depending on where you are and when this is shown. Gene Ritter here with Mr. Richard Keys II, father of Richard F. Keys III, who yesterday was
Yeah, it was
yesterday given, oh, by the way, this is the 19th day of June we're doing this, so on June the 18th he was given a gazillion years.
90 to be exact.
9 to be exact, and a fine that's out of this world, $10,000 for taking part in the alleged burglary of a habitation at the Rose House during the standoff with military, DPS, and God knows who else out of Fort Davis, Texas. Republic of Texas incident. Mr. Keys is stopped in. He's heading back home tomorrow, and I'm not quite sure what to say about all that. Your son's been put away forever, and at least for the time being, and it can't feel good. I mean, we've all got skeletons in the closet. I know what the inside of a jail looks like, and been there a time or two, seen the inside of McAllister, so it can't be a good feeling. But nonetheless, I guess that's, we're going to have to figure out how to deal with the corruption within the court system, the railroad job that went on, the intimidation by district attorney, the judge, the entire team. In fact, the jury was so heavily influenced by the DA, and like good little sheep, they did exactly what he told them to do.
Yeah, they sure did. He told them to give them the sentence, and they produced it. My name is Richard Keys Jr. I'm not the second. I live in Kansas, same place that Richard was from. And I'm here today to tell you, not in a long drawn-out speech, but to tell you that we need your support. We need your help. We need you to get off of your so-called comfort cushion and get out and help us to keep this from happening again. Not from the standpoint of the Republic of Texas doing something, but to help foster the, what's the word I want to use, to foster the support of the people.
Right, for freedom and liberty. I've said it before, Mr. Keys, the Republic of Texas is in the limelight now, and a lot of folks may be upset at hearing about it, but we're the popular group this week that they're coming after, and you know, who's next? I mean, the folks that sit back and say, well, that's those crazy RT people, it's not me, I ain't got to worry about it. Well, your time's coming.
It could be you next, folks. It could be you.
If you're not politically correct, and you don't agree with the Clintonistas and the New World Order crowd, or the One Worlders, whatever you want to call them, they'll find a way to get to you.
Yes. Church organization, school organization, anything that doesn't fit in the scheme of things on any particular day. It could happen to anybody. It's happened to people in Waco, it's happened to people in Ruby Ridge, it's happened to people in West Texas, and it's just, don't know.
Go on and on. A good example, we're Catholics, and on December the 8th, we have a holy day of obligation, the Immaculate Conception, and in Houston at the Novus Ordo Mass, the priest came out for his sermon, and of all things began talking about the ozone layer being depleted. And this is in church, folks, so if you think we're kidding, just stop and listen to what your ministers tell you now and then. You can see it coming from all sides. You could be next. The travesty that was done out there is beyond measure. I brought up a point today with some people in talking. I live in Houston. Today, the 19th of June, a Houston police officer was convicted of killing his Houston police officer girlfriend. He shot her in the back and killed her dead or in hell. He was given a total of 20-year sentence, 10 of that in jail, and as I understand it now, 10 years probation for killing a human being, cowardly act, shooting him in the back. I mean, folks, if you're native Texans, naturalized Texans like I am, back shooters are cowards. If you're going to back shoot a woman, that's the worst kind. He gets total 20 years.
My son gets 90 years and $10,000
fine for allegedly taking part in the break-in of a house, which the Texas Rangers, in transcripts of phone conversations that I've just received, were discussing the fact that Sheriff Bailey began this standoff with an illegal arrest, and they felt, some of these Texas Rangers that were talking to each other on the phone, that this was not a burglary of a habitation. This was a response to an illegal act. After all, out there, the sheriff had made statements in the paper wishing he could shoot Rick McLaren. So if you're up there and you've got the alleged law enforcement community against you, what in the world are you going to do? But this is the good old boy network. Let's railroad these people, make an example of them, so the rest of these patriot types will get the message and do what they're told. That's you, people. That's you. You want to get 90 years? Then stand up for freedom. You want to sit back and drink your beer and watch Baywatch? Do what you're told.
Yeah, folks. It's not a pretty sight. It's something that is going to happen to more and more people as time goes by. And like Gene said, you need to get out of your comfort zone and you need to do something.
You're not going to win it sitting on the couch watching TV and drinking beer or drinking Coke, drinking soda waters, calling your friends on the phone and hobnobbing about the athletic events. And I've said it before, I'm a baseball player. I love the sport, but there's time and place for that stuff. And what price liberty? At what price liberty? Where's your Alamo? Growing up in Texas, we pride ourselves. Remember the Alamo, St. Jacinto, Goliad. People that stood up for freedom. What are you going to stand up for? What's it going to take you to get off your butt? Someone come grab your wife, grab your kids. We've been telling you the homosexuals want your kids. They're going to be putting that stuff out in schools. When are you going to get up? When the New World Order thought police and their little blue helmets come kick your door in? It's going to be a little late then.
Ben Franklin said, and I can't place the time, but he was before my time, but Ben Franklin said,
only by a year or two.
A year or two. Ben Franklin said that we either hang together or we hang separately, folks. Now, if you want to hang, literally, so to speak, whether it's by the neck or by gun or whatever, if that's the way you want to go, fine. Don't do anything. But if you want to see things change, you want to see things better, you want to see the federal government kicked out of our schools, you want to see the federal government kicked out of our churches, don't take something from somebody unless you need it. Don't take a handout from the federal government. You know, folks?
Yeah, there's no such thing as a free... I'm sorry, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
There is no free lunch.
There's strings attached to all this stuff. There's strings attached. To all these government programs, there's strings attached. They're going to buy your vote. They're going to enslave you with it.
Right now, they're buying your vote. You don't know it, but they are. Look at how many things have changed in the last 10 years. Look at how many things have changed in the last 5 years. On July the 4th, there's going to be a rally on the south, I believe the south steps of the state.
South side state capitol, yes.
State capitol. We want you to come. We want you to turn your air conditioning off, come on out, enjoy yourself, listen to the speakers. I'm going to be a speaker. My son, Richard III, was to be a speaker at this rally, but unfortunately, or due to circumstances, however you want to look at it, he can't make it. And I'm going to give the speech for him. Folks, I'm not even a native Texan. I don't even live in Texas. I live in Kansas. But I'm coming back for the 4th of July. I'm going to be there at the rally. I'm going to give Richard's speech. I'm bringing my family, or part of my family, my wife. I'm going to be here. Now, if I can make the sacrifice to come down and tell you all, there again, I use the Texas slang word.
Yeah, that's right. Good for you.
I'm starting to learn, folks. And if I'm coming down and I'm going to be here, and I must say part of the reason I'm going to be here is a selfish reason. I'm being here for my son, Richard.
Hello, Austin, Texas, and we are back.
We're just arguing.
Let me just mention a few quick things here. Austin Alternative News and Music Hour at 6 p.m. on Mondays, every Monday, on 95.9 FM. That's one of our micros here in Central Texas, folks. A very valuable commodity in this, I would add, in fighting in the information war. Austin Alternative News and Music Hour, 6 p.m. Mondays on 95.9 FM if you live up in the Leander, Cedar Park area, Round Rock. Dessie here has a show, Invisible Contracts. Learn how the government is fooling you. 8 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Also on 95.9 FM, Radio Tejas. And let me just say one thing about Keith Perry. Keith Perry is providing a valuable service, and the man is taking a heat from the FCC. And by golly, we need people to stand up and help him. So I would like for you to call this phone number, 259-0033, and talk to Keith Perry and ask him what you can do, because the FCC is currently threatening him with $11,000 fines for operating a little non-licensed FM radio broadcast. And I will say this, and I've said it before, micro broadcasting in America, there's several thousand of them, and that will be one of the tools, if we're going to win this thing, that will definitely be one of the tools that we will need to pull it off.
And call in and ask questions when I'm on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's you're on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
8 to 9.
8 to 9, and it's a live call-in. He's got the capability to take calls now, so that's an
No, I have to drive out there.
Oh well, it's still it's still a valuable commodity that Keith is doing. In fact,
really
I hosted a show on his on his radio station for about 3 months, and then a lot of the stuff came down. He kind of I didn't really know how to help him, man, except try to direct traffic to him. And so,
yeah, we just kind of have to support all of these people that try in every way we possibly can.
And also, let me mention, I brought in some of the flags, if you saw it at the 6 o'clock, we've got 24 of these things now. And on Saturday, July 4th, the thing that Mr. Keys was just talking about, we're going to be burning United Nations flags on Independence Day. I can't think of a more timely, appropriate, or more appropriate place or time to burn UN flags on Saturday, so-called Independence Day on July 4th.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I want to just say this, folks. You'll probably get 60 to 70,000 down here at Town Lake with your little American flags doing this thing, you know, thinking you're free and all this kind of foolishness. See, I'm going to be down at the south side of the Capitol burning takeover UN flags. Now, with that said.
That's right.
All right.
Drive them back, Alex.
Alex? That's right.
I do that.
Nah, it don't faze me, man. I've been through it all. Then this weekend, it's all I mean, I've been through it. So.
I wanted to mention an article that had been in the American's Bulletin in the June issue. Robert Kelly does a really good job with this too. It's really good report from people around the United States. And there was a judge in Tyler, Texas, name of Judge Justice. I forget his first two names. But he was pushed. There was a trial up there in January, and it was people who are consider themselves sovereign, and he was pushing them, and I mean they were pushing him, and he jumped up and shouted, "I don't take my orders from you. I take my orders from Britain." And so this is the first breakthrough in the courts where the judge told us where they really take their orders, because they really do take their orders from Britain, we believe. It's pretty hard to track down, but that's what it looks like. So we really do have British rule here in this country, and it comes from this UN business, and we really thought we fought a war of independence with them, and we have to refight it. Our forefathers could only do so much, and we have to get off our duffs and finish the job. And we've let it go on too long. We have to get our country.
I'll tell you something in a real personal note. I for one, Dessie, and I'm a real sensitive guy anyway. I'm a real emotional guy, but I for one have really come to love this place we call Texas. And I think it's absolutely pivotal that we do everything we can, man, to try to preserve it, the way it was intended.
Well, the opportunity we have here in Texas, and people just should be aware of this and not let it get away, is Texas is totally unique to all the other United States. We really do. The citizens of Texas, whether you want to call yourself a Texan, a Texian, or Republic of Texas, I don't care. We have, the citizens of Texas hold the title to the soil, and this is the only place in America that hasn't been taken away from them. So we really can get freedom in Texas, and we need to do that here so that the rest of the United States can be free too.
That's a key element. When I keep hearing this RT business and that people don't want to have anything to do with saving Texas, see, that's a key element. If we can pull Texas out of this mess, then certainly the other states would then move in to follow us.
Absolutely.
So I don't see anything wrong at all with trying to save one little region of a little.
Austin, Texas free.
Yeah.
That would be a little foothold to begin with. But we have to drive them back. The federal government has no business sticking their nose in here. And by Texas, we should have it at local municipalities at every level. We should have public servants that answer to us. And that's not, you try to push them down, you try to pin them down, they do things against us. You try to sue them in court. They have total immunity. They can do anything they want to us, and we have to reverse that. But in Texas, we have a bigger chance than any other state in the Union. So people really have to get involved, learn the history here. And I've come to love this place. It's called Texas, too. I never thought I'd say that when I didn't live here, and I used to run across all those strutting crowing Texans all over the world. But they had a right to be proud. They have a right to be proud. But unless you learn and begin to take this country back, then you don't have a right to be proud. If you really are a Texan, learn your history. Let's get America back. We can do it through Texas.
And I'll tell you something else too, particularly through the shortwave. I'm going to get you on the shortwave here one of these times. There are,
idle threats.
No, I'll get you on there. But here's the thing: I can tell you that there's a lot of people in the Patriot movement across America and the world, I believe, that are looking at Texas What is Texas going, as this thing continues to beat down on us, what is Texas and Texans going to do to stop this global system of enslavement that's being set up over us? I tell you, I know that for a fact.
Oh,
Just having the experience on the shortwave now, but you know, I've had people tell me that, but now having the experience.
Oh, it's really true. I mean, there's been worldwide interest in Texas because somehow they all know that when freedom comes, it will come in Texas if freedom comes, and we're talking about if now because I'm telling you, we're in the battle of our lives, and if people don't understand that and they don't learn, I mean, that's all we're asking you to do is learn.
Well, I can tell you my honest what I want to see.
What do you
I
want to say?
I want to see Armageddon right here in Austin, Texas. The final battle of good versus evil right here, folks.
Well, I'd just soon not see any battles. I'd just soon drive the bums back without the big conflagration, quite frankly.
We still win. In the end, we win. Did you have a final comment, Dessie? We got to go to that rollout, I think.
No, I just hope that everybody, you know, my email is up there. I've got all kinds of books that I can.
Okay.
I've got all kinds of books that I can send people in files. I've got Secrets of the Federal Reserve, Are We Still a British Colony? All kinds of books that I can send to people in files that you can print down yourself. So, and they're fascinating. I don't have the New History of America because that's a copyrighted book, but that's a fascinating book. We need to relearn our history because we've been told lies.
Absolutely. Here is our credits, or not our credits, but here are some shows you want to check out. This is all of these people are friends of mine, and I'll tell you the truth, Dessie. I am honored to be involved in this.
Well,
and I don't know. You know, no one can say for sure what the outcome of this is going to be. In our generation, our lifetimes. But I'll tell you, I am honored to death.
Well,
to be involved in this.
I'm thrilled too. I think we live in extremely exciting times. I mean, I don't like to hear all the doom and gloom because I think it's very exciting. And I tell you what, if people tune in next week and watch us, I promise to call you Jeff.
Oh, that's quite all right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and bail out of here. I appreciate the Ritters, Dessie. It was fabulous. And with that, we will see you next week at 10 o'clock, folks. The Tie That Binds. God bless you. See you next week.
I love Mike Hansen Archives.
You ready to run?